Hello, welcome back. Today we are going to use our knowledge about area and we're going to be talking about composite area of figures. So our objective for today is I will be able to find the area of composite figures. So the first thing that we need to define is what is a composite figure or a composite shape. So a composite shape is a figure, which is a synonym for shape, that can be divided into more than one basic figure. So what I mean by that is the basic figures are the ones that we think of when we think of shapes. Triangle, rectangle, square, circle, anything like that would be a basic figure. So let's take a look. All of these shapes are composite shapes. And so what we mean by that is we can split up these shapes into more than one basic shape. So you see this arrow, we can split it up into two triangles and a rectangle. Let's take a look at this weird looking shape. We can split and draw lines or cut it up to make a square and two rectangles. Okay, and even letters, block letters we can make into composite or basic figures by drawing to make a square and a rectangle. So that's what I mean by we divide it up to basic figures. So we just have to take a moment and look at the shape and really ask ourselves, what are we or how are we going to divide this up? So here's our steps. Step 1, cut the figure into familiar shapes. That's what we just practiced on the last slide. Step 2, find the missing dimensions. Step 3, find the area of the different pieces. And step 4, add or subtract the areas. So let's take a look. First we're going to look at adding. Alright, so here we have a composite figure. There's no special formula that we can come up with to figure out the area of this shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the figure up into easier shapes that we know the formula to so we can figure this out. So I see right here what looks like I could cut this to make a triangle. So let's make this into a triangle. And look, we have a rectangle and a triangle. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to figure out is, well, okay, to find the area of the rectangle, we need to do area equals base times height. That's for this right here. Now we need to ask ourselves, what numbers are we going to use? Okay, so let's take a step back and let's try to find the dimensions of each of these, so this will become a little bit easier for us. So we have this top side of the figure is 14 centimeters. The height right here is 12, and the bottom all the way past this dotted line is 22. So what we can do is we can cut up this 22 into two different pieces to make it look a little bit easier. Right, so we know that this piece right here, from here to here, is 14 because up here it tells us that. So let's cross this out and let's put 14. That's from here to here. Right, so that means whatever is left is from here to here, or the end or the bottom of the triangle. So how we're going to do that is 22 minus 14. Okay, so 22 minus 14 is 8. So we know that this short side is 8. And we can check our work because 14 plus 8 is equal to 22. So now let's figure out the area of this inside. So what we're going to do is area equals the base, or 14, times height, which is 12. Okay, now we can type into our calculators or do it by hand. 14 times 12. Okay, 14 times 12 is 168. So the area of this rectangle is 168 centimeters squared. Now let's figure out the area of this triangle. So the formula for area of a triangle is area equals 1/2 base times height. Alright, so we know that the base, we just figured out the base was 8. So we're going to keep that 1/2, bring it down, times 8, times the height, which we know that this height right here and this height right here, since they're congruent, that means that this is also 12. So 8 times 12. Right, so now let's do this. 1/2 times 8 is 4 times 12. And 4 times 12 is 48. Okay, so now the last step that we have is to add these two areas together. So we have 168 plus 48. And this is going to give us our final area. So 168 plus 48 is 216. Our label is centimeters squared. So the area of this composite figure is 216 centimeters squared. Alright, let's do another one. This one, now we have the letter H. And we can cut this up into different shapes, just like we did before, and find the area. So we're finding the area. Let's cut it up into shapes that we know. Step 1. Right, so I see some rectangles here. I see a rectangle here in the middle. And I see a rectangle here. So you have 3 different size rectangles. Okay, now next step, let's figure out the missing dimensions. So this dimension right here, since these are opposite, they are going to be equal or congruent. So this is 4 meters. Okay, same thing. This one and this one are going to be the same. So this is 3 meters. And this height is also going to be the same as this height because they're opposite of each other. Okay, right here, this length and this length are 5 meters. This length and this length 5. This length and this length is 4. Alright, so the only thing that we have left to find is this height right here. So what we're going to do is, since we know, well, this is 12, and this little chunk is 4, and this little chunk is 5, well, we could subtract the two to figure out the missing side length. So to find this part right here, we're going to go 12 minus 4 minus 5. So 12 minus 4 minus 5. So let's write that. Well, 4 plus 5 is 9. 12 minus 9 is 3. So we know that these two are 3. Okay, now let's find the areas. So all of the rectangles we are going to use the same formula. So area equals base times height, or maybe you like length times width better. Okay, so we'll do the first one. Okay, area is equal to 12 times 4. Well, 12 times 4, we already just did this one, is 48. So we know that this area right here is 48. Now let's do this middle one. Area equals, we have 3 and 5. 3 times 5. Area equals 15. And last but not least, we have area equals, we have 3 times 12. So area equals 36. So we have 48, 15, and 36. So 48 plus 15 plus 36 is 99. So the area of the whole figure, so here, let me show you what I did there. 48 plus 15 plus 36 is equal to 99, and our unit is meters squared. So that's our area of the entire figure. Alright, so sometimes this might ask us to find the area of just a shaded region. So let's take a look here. We have a shape inside of a shape, and we're just wanting to know this shaded area. So the first step is the same. We want to say, okay, what are our two shapes that we need to look at? So the first one's a square. So our square formula is area equals base times height. Alright, so area equals 8 times 8, which is 64. So I like to label it the total area, because the bigger shape is 64. Now let's do the triangle. Area equals 1/2 base times height. Alright, so you see this 1/2 base times height, and this might be a little funny way of differencing it. This is another way that you can write height. Okay, so area equals 1/2 times 4 times 4. Oops, not 48, just 4, sorry. And then area equals 1/2 times 4 is 2, and 2 times 4 is 8. So the part that we don't want is 8. So now we need to say, okay, well, we are going to do 64 minus 8. So the total minus the part is going to get us this shaded region right here. So 64 minus 8, we're going to subtract it, is 56. So the area of the shaded region is 56. We don't know the measurement, so we're going to say units squared. 56 units squared. All right, and here's the last one that we're going to do together. We are going to find the area of the shaded region again. Okay, so we are going to do a couple things. So this one's a little bit more involved. We almost like a two-parter. So first off, we're going to find the area of the blue region, for the whole thing. So we're going to have to cut it in two. Alright, we know this side, so let's do this one first. So to find the total of all of it, we need to do 5 times 10. So 5 times 10 is 50. So 5 times 10 is equal to 50. So this part right here is 50. Now we're going to find this part. Well, to find this height, we're going to have to add 3 plus 10, which is 13. And to find this one, we need to do 11 minus 5, which is 6. Alright, so we're going to do 13 times 6, which is equal to 78. Okay, so now to find the entire shape, we need to add them together. So 50 plus 78, 50 plus 78 is 128. So that's how much all the area is, all of the area. Okay, now we need to figure out what these little areas are so we can subtract. So the first one is simple, 3 times 6, which is 18. And the second one, 4 by 4.5. I'm sorry, 5.5. Okay, so 4 times 5.5 is, let's do that, 4 times 5.5 is 22. So now to get rid of those from the region, you need to do 128 minus 18 minus 22, which is 88. So we did it. The area of just the blue region, or just the shaded region, is 88 centimeters squared. Alright, so now I'd like you to try it. The first one, you're just finding the area. The second one, you're finding the area of just a shaded area. Just a shaded region. If you have any questions at all, please write them down so then we can go over them together when you come back. Thank you so much for being good, diligent note takers and listeners, and I will see you later. Alright, bye-bye.